All right. Well, hello everybody. I'm so happy that Dan has joined me. And if you are watching the recording, you will see that it is a very important topic that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about health and especially cardiac health. And June being Men's Health Month, and this particular week is designated as Men's Health Week. uh, we wanted to talk about heart health. And the reason is heart disease is still number one killer of men and women also in a non-cancer category. Cancer and heart disease kind of compete with each other. And this is the other part of it, is that this is one which is definitely preventable. It is estimated that nearly 90% of cardiac deaths can be prevented if we take action soon enough. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about, why we should take action soon and what does soon mean and things like that. And what's the need for that? I mean, one of the things that I realized is that we've known that we can prevent many heart attacks and stroke and all those different types of killers by changing our lifestyle, changing all aspects of our lifestyle. We've known that there is a study which has been going on, which is mostly done on men, has been going on for 5 decades. So doctors have known it, everybody has known it. We just have not acted on it, and it continues to show the results. And while statistics are great, I think there is a human story that needs to be told and that needs to be paid attention to. Um, so why did I choose this particular topic? Because it came home to me few weeks ago. I just moved into a new house and I was getting some things done. A really nice handyman, very nice, very competent, and very caring, very careful about his work. And he had come to do some fixing some of the stuff in the house, as well as pressure washing my driveway and sidewalk. And I have a pretty large sidewalk because of corner lot and driveway. It's a lot of area. And I'm in Florida, so it's hot outside. It's always summer, right? So it's extremely hot outside. And he came around 8:30 in the morning, and he was working outside. His assistant was working inside. And here's how it started. That this was Tuesday that he had come out. And I called him on Sunday to confirm that he was coming on Tuesday. And he said, oh, yeah, I'll be here Tuesday. And he was taking a long time. So I asked his assistant, what's going on? I mean, I know the driveway was really bad when I took over the house. So I thought maybe that's what's giving so much trouble. And the assistant quietly told me, so this is almost now 10:30, 11. And he said, well, did you know he just had a heart attack on Saturday? And my jaw dropped. I said, what? You mean to say he's working 3 days after his heart attack? He said, yeah, he was in the hospital on Saturday. He got discharged on Sunday. So the day I called him to confirm that he was going to come and work on my property was the day that he was still in the hospital. I called him in. I said, no, you need to come in right now. It's like, you can't tell an MD that you've had a heart attack and she's not going to let you work on a property 3 days later. She's not going to let you work, period, right? So he walks in very calmly. He's looking terrible. He's in terrible shape. He's sweating like crazy. I was like, are you having chest pains? Because I'm going to call 911 at this point. And he said, no, this is my fourth heart attack. I'm fine. Like, what? And of course, he couldn't continue working. He stopped and they had to leave. And he couldn't continue working, whether I said anything or not. It was getting hot and he couldn't do it. And I just kept on thinking about this. Like, what does his wife think about this? What do his kids, both the kids are grown, what do they think about this? That this is his fourth heart attack. And day 3 after a heart attack, he's working. He's working. And I understand why. He's a small business owner, so he has to work in order to keep the business going or what have you. But this is dangerous. I mean, this is asking for major trouble. And that kind of brought home to me, it's like, how many heart attacks does it take for you to take action? This was something that I really struggled with. It's been now 3 weeks and I haven't called him back. But I mean, I feel bad that I've taken business away from him, but at the same time, I don't want him to have something terrible happen to him. I'll feel worse than that. So now Dan, what I think about, and I work with cardiologists for that reason, because one of the common complaints of my doctor friends is, what we tell our patients to do or to do, they just don't do it. And I'm going to have Dan is an exception though, or he's an example for everybody else. He's going to share his story. So Dan, take it away.
Well, I've came to know you, Jaya, through a cardiologist. As you know, I was extremely overweight, and I have struggled with weight most of my life, and I've actually lost weight, fair amount of weight, a couple of times, but I've never been able to keep it off. But I've always also, even being overweight, I've been active and athletic, and I think that has allowed me to fool myself. And I would tell myself, yes, I'm overweight, but I can still do things. I'm still able to be active. I'm still able to to to, to go to the gym and do these things. And then as I got older, things became more difficult. And I have a very bad back, and that limits my ability to exercise to a certain degree as well. I had serious back surgery many years ago. But I think that we lie to ourselves and we tell ourselves, yes, I get tired quicker, but I'm getting older, so that's just normal. And yes, I get out of breath easy quicker, but I'm getting older, and that's just normal. But it got to the point where I was having a difficult time just conducting daily life, and my exercise at the gym had gotten, even though I still went, I was not doing very strenuous exercise at all. I was saying I'm still going to the gym 3 times a week, but I wasn't doing much at the gym, and I was lying to myself about that as well. But it got to the point where I was having difficulty, serious difficulty breathing. And I had a few episodes where I thought I might pass out. And I even had an episode at work where I thought I was blacking out and I was alone in my office and was worried that no one would find me. And and that really got my attention. And so I went to my general practitioner, and she referred me to a cardiologist, and I went to see the cardiologist, and he scheduled me for a lot of tests. But he also said, even without seeing your test, you need to lose weight. And he connected me with Jaya, and I was extremely motivated at that point to lose weight, because I had had 2 episodes where I really thought I was going to pass out at work, and that just was very scary to me. I wasn't. I could see my life being shortened by my health, and so I was as motivated as I think a person can be to stick to the program that Jaya coaches and to do, the things that she advised me to do, and I did them, and I followed it exactly. If I wasn't supposed to have something, I didn't have it. And I've never drunk water, but I drink water now. And,
You're a model client.
well, I was a terrified client, okay? And I had known I needed to lose weight. My general practitioner doctor had been telling me I needed to lose weight for years, but I'd been lying to myself and saying I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. And also, honestly, the experience of losing weight a couple of times and gaining it back had made me hopeless. I thought, what's the point in trying to lose weight, being hungry, being grumpy, going through the process of losing weight? Because 6 months after I lose it, I'll be just as big as I was before I started losing the weight in the first place, because that's what had happened to me before. And I just thought, it's not worth the effort. It's just not worth it. But then when you think you're dying, and I'm not sure that I was just thinking I was dying, I think I probably was dying, that will give you tremendous motivation. And and so my body, fortunately, responds extremely well to this to the Optiva diet program. to the eating program, and I lost the weight easily, and I lost it quickly, and it was uh, the hunger. I was hungry at first, but it didn't last very long, and then I settled into the routine and and every day, or not every day, but every day that I weighed, and I would see the progress on scales, and I would see the progress in the way my clothes fit, and people began to tell me that they saw a difference in my looks, and I knew that there was a difference in, in the way I felt. That was just more and more and more motivation, and so it has been truly a life changing event for me. Um, I feel like I don't know how long I'll live. I don't know. I don't think anybody knows how long they'll live, but I truly believe I have extended my lifespan, and not only extended my lifespan, but I feel better while I'm alive. So not only do I think I will live longer, but I'm enjoying life more. I'm not having the out, I'm not a marathon runner yet. Maybe one day I will be, but my back kind of prevents me from that type, that level of exercise anyway. But what I am saying is I'm I don't get tired as quickly. Not nearly as quickly. I'm able to get down on the floor and play with my grandkids, to roll around in the yard with them, to do things that I haven't done for years. And telling myself I'm 55 years old, and I just told myself that, well, a 55-year-old can't do that, and that's baloney. A 55-year-old can do many, many things, but not a 55-year-old who weighs what I weighed.
Yeah,
And so it wasn't that. I mean, age does slow us down. I mean, that is a fact of life, but the weight slows you down more, I believe. And so it has been I appreciate Jaya so much for her help and her guidance. I appreciate um, the program and the guidance, that it's given me. I still have to I still have to struggle with the maintenance. The maintenance for me is actually harder than the weight loss, because on the weight loss it's more regimented. On the maintenance you have much more freedom, and I am the kind of person that has to be careful with freedom, because I will take advantage of it. And so, but I still weigh regularly, and if I put on 2 or 3 pounds, I get back on, and I
what?
tighten my criteria. I
Yeah.
become more strict with myself, and I can find that the weight goes back off. And I don't want to be that way. I would love to be, so I weigh the same thing all the time, every day. And maybe I'll get there. I'm not there yet,
Well,
but it's nice to know that if I do put on just a few pounds, that I'm only going to let myself put on a few pounds, because I stop it. And as soon as I say nope, it's time. I go back on the program, even if it's just for a week or two, and I get those 2 or 3 pounds or 5 pounds back off, and I'm back on track again.
and that's the shift in the mindset, isn't it? That it is worth keeping your health where it is, or improve it, because of all the things that you can do that you could not
Well,
do. I mean, at one point I did not even imagine myself climbing on a step stool. I mean, my classroom was on the second floor, and we would be walking into the building with the students, and the students would, we have a conversation going, real good one, and then they would go to the staircase, and I would go to the elevator. It was uh, it was impossible for me at that point to think about climbing up the stairs. And one day, after improving my health, I went up the stairs without even knowing it. I suddenly noticed that we were all up at the top of the stairs, and we had continued our conversation. And I can tell you, once you get that feeling of doing something which you never thought was even possible anymore, it's like, wow, I did it. And you
yes,
talk about marathon. I couldn't even climb on a step stool. And then 2 years ago, I ran with my daughter 10K. Of course, she's younger than me, so she ran much faster than I did, but I ran on in time to get the medal. So
yes.
I know that you can optimize your health, but what would be a great motivation for someone to, or especially men who are trained to present themselves as strong and invincible? What would be the motivation, you think, that will make them take action sooner than waiting till that they can't really do anything about
Well, for me, it was hearing the doctor say, we need to get you in for um, a CT scan and all the tests that he wanted to run. And they initially thought I had blockage and were scheduling me for um, uh, the,
the
the
stent and
the
angioplasty?
stent. Yes, and I did not end up having to have it, but I thought I was going to. I thought I was going to, and yeah, but I'm mad. It made me mad at myself that I let it get to that point. Um, what really motivated me to go see the doctors, I had the two episodes. Well, one of the episodes I was in the office alone, and it was scary, but it wasn't embarrassing because I was by myself. The other one, I was at someone else's office, and their office was on the third floor. And so, without even thinking about it, they walked over to the stairs and they were in conversation with me. And they start walking up the stairs, and I know that I've got to walk up 2 flights of stairs, just two, to get to the third floor. And I'm not even talking; they're the ones talking. So I'm walking along with them. When we got to the third floor, I was lightheaded and having difficulty breathing.
Wow.
And I was embarrassed by that. And so I attempted to not show it, which just means I wasn't getting the oxygen that I needed because I wouldn't allow myself to breathe hard, which was making it worse. And finally, someone asked me a question and I had to speak and I couldn't talk. Okay.
Wow.
And and they looked at me and I was able to get out. I'm okay. I just need a minute. And their first reaction is, we're going to call 911. And I said, no, I'll be fine. Just give me a minute. I've got to catch my breath. And I had to walk away from the group and kind of just catch my breath. And that was extremely embarrassing to me, extremely, that in front of other people, I had walked up 2 flights of steps and they thought they needed to call an ambulance for me. And it was immediately that I called the doctor and said, I've got to come in and see you. And but I have friends, men friends, who need to lose weight right now. And I have I talked to them about it, and they're about my age, some of them younger.
Yeah.
And their response to me is, I enjoy eating. This is what I enjoy doing. I'm not going to stop eating. I would rather be overweight and eat whatever I want to eat. And it makes me sad, but they are making a choice, and that is their choice. And I talk to them about their activity level, and you know what their activity level is they go to work and then they sit on the sofa and they watch TV and they eat. And that is all they do, and they're too tired to do anything else. And what I want to say to them without losing their friendship is, there's a lot more to life than going to work and then sitting on the sofa and eating. And if you would just understand that, and you can still eat food that tastes good, and you can still enjoy your food, but you can have a more fulfilling, more active life with a lot more in it than figuring out what's the next television show. I watch very little TV. My life is very active, and I've got nothing. I'm not trying to talk down TV. You can watch all the TV you want, but if you're watching TV because that's all you have energy to do, it's sad. And you don't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah, and
It,
it's so wonderful to be able to play with kids and grandkids and everybody else. I mean, that is one thing that I miss my dad, because my dad, of course, he also had another issue. As a young man, he smoked a lot. And when I finished my MD, he asked me what I wanted for a present. I said, stop smoking. And he did. To his
oh,
credit, he did. But a lot of damage was done to the heart. And then again, um, a lot of Indians think that they eat healthy. Well, it is partially true. Food has changed. A lot of people say, but I eat traditional food and my grandfather lived to be 99. But thing is, bread those days used to be made from whole grain. Today it is all refined, so all the nutrients are out, so you don't get the satiety, so you need a bigger hoagie rather than the smaller shorty that your grandfather used to eat. So for example, the CDC has this amazing infographic. I didn't even know that the size of the hamburger in last 50 years has become 3.5 times bigger. And of that, 70% is the bun. The size of the bun has increased so much than the meat in there. So yes, you're eating one burger, but you're actually eating 3.5 burgers with one than what your grandpa ate. So your grandpa could live to be 99 eating burgers, but you won't because you are shortening your life and not know it. And
Right.
that's the thing that we don't understand. It's not that the food, even the traditional foods. Like we were in the New Orleans style restaurant this weekend. So it's all Creole style. But my daughter, who wasn't, who didn't need to lose weight, needed to do that. She was able to learn. She has learned how to eat healthy and yet flavorful. So she was able to get the fresh catch of the day with Creole seasoning. But she said, "Well, I don't want any roux. I just want this hot, spicy sauce that you have, which is not roux based, and I want it on a bed of spinach." And they seasoned the spinach with Creole seasoning too, and everybody loved it. And that
Mm.
dish was cooked perfectly, so everybody had a great time. But she ate healthy, so it is possible to do this. So to your friends who want to eat healthy, yes, eat healthy, eat actually tasteful healthy. So you can eat well. You don't have, I mean, if I ask them to write a blog about the last pizza that they ate, I'm sure they don't even remember it. It wasn't that memorable. So the French fries were just French fries. It wasn't savored. And that's one of the
Right.
things that we learn in the program. It's not just about eating food, it's about savoring it. It
Right.
really appreciating it. I know exact every mouthful that goes into my mouth, whether it is scrambled eggs or what it is. I actually know it. I can write a blog about it the same way. But it is so important, and just so it is really important to understand is that the damage to the heart begins 2 decades before heart starts complaining. So there we have 2 decades to reverse it. So let's do it, right? That's the
Right.
whole.
Right.
Yeah, we can do
And,
it sooner than later, so it doesn't have to be like the gentleman that I'm now no longer using for my work. So, I mean, I worry that what happens to his family when he can no longer work, and what happens to his assistants and workers who can't work because his company has folded up. I mean, you're the kingpin in there, and the linchpin is fallen. And what do you do? And that's happening sooner than it used to be. So I really, I wanted to emphasize this to all the gentlemen. We need you. We need you to be healthy. We need you to be around. We need you to really be there, be there for your kids, your grandkids, yourself, your friends. So your biking buddy, I'm sure they love the fact that you can now motorbike with them and go hiking with them, right? You went on a vacation.
well,
Tell us about that.
well, I do go on a motorcycle trip every year with a group of men, and honestly, most of them, not all of them, but most of them need to lose weight too. And I think you hear the term dad bod, and usually those are much younger men than me. People with small children, but it seems that men and women may be too, but I'm speaking
Yeah.
about men right now. They become less concerned with how they look. Okay, and that's okay. We don't all have to be so caught up in our looks. I'm not saying, and that was not what looks didn't motivate me. Fear of dying motivated me. But the fact of it is I think men are harder to reach because we have an ego that gets in the way. We don't want to admit that we have any problems. We have uh, after a certain stage in life when we're married and our children are little, we're just tired and we're worn out, as women are, I'm sure, and we care less about how we look, and they're just trying to survive to a certain degree, and 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 health becomes a low priority,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
it was it was even with me, health was a priority, but I had lied to myself to the point where I thought that I was still healthy. at my highest weight, when I was running out of gas, running out of breath, walking up 2 flights of stairs, I would still tell myself that I was not
Yeah,
that bad.
it's 2 flights of stairs. That's how it becomes, right? It's 2 flights. If it was one, I would have been fine. That's how you
Right.
start
Yes.
talking to
Right. So you just keep changing your standard of what's okay, and
yourself.
and you change your standard on what size of clothes you're all right wearing. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
for a man, you go from a 36-inch waist to a 38-inch waist to a 40-inch waist to a 42-inch waist to a 44-inch waist, and in your pants. And every 2 inches you go up, you go, well, this would be where I stop, and it's not. You go up 2 more inches and 2 more inches, and you know, I had to get all new clothes, and I didn't want to buy any new clothes while I was losing weight because I wanted to wait till I'd lost it all and then go buy all new clothes. Because I
In
thought
one
this,
shot.
right. In the meantime, it's transition, but at some point I had to go buy new clothes, even though I was still losing weight, because my clothes were falling off of me. You can wear shirts that are too big. They don't look very nice, but you can wear them. But it's hard to wear pants that are 6 inches or 8 inches too big for you. You know, and that's and
But
you know what?
it's a great feeling when you feel that energy. And
Oh
that's
yes,
the biggest thing, the energy. It's like you no longer have that afternoon slump because you've fueled your body throughout the day and you feel better, you sleep better. I mean, I have men clients who no longer have to be hooked up to CPAP machines because their apnea is gone essentially, and they are sleeping better, they don't have GERD, they don't have all that because they're feeling better. And
yeah.
imagine how much you can do when you feel like that.
Well, that's a really interesting point because I was never diagnosed with sleep apnea, although I had family tell me you should go get a sleep test because we think you have sleep apnea, and I was snoring very badly. But I never went I was never tested. I don't know if I had sleep apnea or not, but I can tell you that after I'd lost probably 20 or 30 pounds in my journey, I lost a total of 60. But after I'd lost about 20 or 30 pounds, my wife told me I stopped snoring, and I haven't snored since.
Yeah, it
And
makes a
and,
difference.
and and just losing 20 or 30 pounds stopped my snoring. And it's amazing to me how much of a ripple effect that losing weight has on your health. Things that you don't necessarily, at least as a layperson, not as an MD, but as a layperson, I didn't necessarily associate with weight. And all of a sudden, you are sleeping better. All of a sudden, you do have more energy. All of a sudden, you don't snore anymore. You know, um, all of a sudden, yes. And I have arthritis in my back and in my hips, and that losing weight didn't make the arthritis go away, but you have less stress on your joints, and so it's less severe. And and so there, it's just been, it's it. I'm so thankful. I do have some regret in that it took me to this point to get. It took me to the point of not being able to walk up 2 flights of stairs without having somebody threaten to call 911 before I did something about it. You know, and I would just tell men, stop lying to yourself.
Yeah.
Stop telling yourself you're okay. Stop telling yourself that it's normal at this age,
Yeah.
because it may not be age that's causing it. It might be just how bad your cardiovascular system is. Uh, I want my I have a little bit of blockage in one of my arteries in my heart, not enough for them to do an angioplasty on, but I want that to go away.
Yeah.
I want that
It
to
goes
improve.
away
I
slowly.
have I've been diagnosed with a fatty liver, and I want
Both.
that to go away.
Yeah,
And
me
I have
too.
been told that it can. It takes
Mhm.
time,
Yeah,
but
it
but
does.
but those are my goals. I want my fatty liver to go away. I don't ever want to have angioplasty. I want my heart to pump the way it's supposed to pump without.
Yeah, you want to dance at your grandkid's wedding. That's what
That's
they
right.
can do that in dancing grandpa, and that's the
And
whole point. And that's the thing. Like, I don't think men understand that their choices have a ripple effect on everything around them. Everybody's choice has. You're going to be an example for your grandkids. You're going to be example for your kids, those who are younger men, and you're going to be example for everybody around it. So I urge men to take action sooner than later. Don't wait. like that gentleman I was talking about before, or another colleague of mine who actually passed away from massive heart attack. He had had quintuple bypass. And the sad part is he knew it. He was professor of nutrition. So that was the sad part of it. Knowledge is necessary but not sufficient. So action is what is needed. And that's what I'm urging everybody. I want to tell all the men that you're very precious. We need you. So please pay attention. Just as you would take care of a Ferrari, your heart is your Ferrari. Make sure you take care of it. Your body is the best mansion in which that Ferrari lives. If you will fix up the mansion, if you'll fix up the Ferrari, why won't you fix your heart and your body? And there is an easy thing. And I'm so proud that, Dan, you're paying it forward. You're helping others to do that. So I'm thankful for that. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your story and your inspiration. And I hope your friends listen to you and actually
I
follow
hope
your
so too.
suit. I just hope so. But again, June is Men's Health Month, but health is year round, every day, 365 days a year, 366 in a leap year. So I encourage everyone to do that. And thank you again. And
Thank you.
uh, we will talk more, and you will continue on your journey. I'm sure of that.
Yes,
Thank you.
I sure will. Thank
Thank you
you.
for joining me.
Thank you.
Right.